The one thing about Crawford is he got guts. Them bums ain't have no guts. Them bums didn't want to win. Crawford want to win. That's it. It ain't about no belt. It ain't about nothing. You didn't sign the contract. We want to win, and he want to be the best, and he is the best. So that's what's going to be the difference. You know, Crawford got guts. He got a fighting spirit. So when you see Crawford, he going to go in there and get busy with Canelo. Don't you even doubt that. You understand? You ain't never seen Crawford stay on the back foot in no fight in his life. You understand? He the type of guy to go get you. So expect him to go get him. We going to do everything we can to him. We going to do whatever we got to do. But one thing you can expect is Crawford is going to step to him. Because you can't beat Canelo going on the back foot forever. You got to go get him. You got to do something. And he better know Crawford is coming.
We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to your live boxing ego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to your live. All right, so Pete, Terence Crawford's team, they are insanely confident ahead of Canelo versus Crawford, despite criticism, despite the weight jumping, moving up in weight. Crawford and his team, they seem real confident, y'all. I'm talking about like real confident. And I guess we're going to find out what that all means and what it amounts to coming up soon. Very soon, actually. In September, we're going to see what it means. So in this video, that's what I'm going to talk about. Break it down, give you guys my thoughts to let you know what's going on. So I seen this interview with Bernie, one of Crawford's confidants, right-hand man of Terence Crawford, if you will. And he was sounding very confident about Bud's chances to beat Canelo. I could keep giving you my thoughts, but I think it's better you hear for yourself. And without further ado, roll the clip. So now we could talk about it. Yeah, now we could talk about it now that you guys have heard it. So for me, they sound real confident. Terence Crawford, he looked unbothered when he did the face-to-face with Canelo Alvarez. He looked like I've been here before. And like he really wasn't sweating Canelo or the moment, anything like that. And to hear Bernie, I got to keep it real. Bernie definitely sounds like he's riding for his folk. And he too sounds very confident in Bud's ability. And it looks like they're studying, if you will. Studying Canelo. And I mean, how could you not? Canelo Alvarez is a star in boxing, has been a star for quite some time. And that's how the game goes. You're in the driver's seat, you know, limelight, and you're on front page, front and center in these big fights. The world pays attention. So there's a lot of studying that can be done and a lot of data on Canelo Alvarez, right? So many fights. And Canelo specifically, let's be clear. Canelo is one of the only fighters in this newer generation where he's going to retire with the amount of fights that he has, like Manny Pacquiao did. You know what I mean? Like people who they had to work on the job. Canelo got like 70 fights, y'all. That's a lot. You know, we seen that with like Ray Robinson, Julio Cesar Chavez, them guys back there. But these new fighters, to get that many fights, that's a lot. You know, even though we know early in his career he wasn't fighting. It was padded. Put it that way. It was padded. He was fighting club style fights in Mexico, but it's still a lot of men that you beat. That's a lot. You still, because he was 15, you know, when Canelo first turned pro. So you got to give him credit there. So a lot of data on Canelo Alvarez, and Buzz team sounds confident. They've been doing their studying. They said the thing that I liked from Bernie, he was like, Buzz really finna step to him. He was like, because you can't fight scary versus Canelo. You're going to have to drive him back. You have to make your presence felt. And you can't just let Canelo bury you and bulldog you. So he said he's for sure finna step to Canelo, and he's going to be right there for Canelo. Now, Bud has always chosen this path. He's a boxer, puncher, aggressive, and very confident. So this will be very interesting because Canelo will have to think on the fly. If Bud really step like Bernie is saying, right, then that's going to be it could be a very good fight. Like me, I don't really even want to see the fight like that because I don't like all the weight class jumping. It's really a novelty fight for me. But if, again, Crawford does what Bernie is saying, I think it'll be one of Canelo's better fights in recent memory because Caleb Plant, he came with it and tried to win rounds and he was trying to beat Canelo, right? Some guys get in there with Canelo and kind of cur up. So here's the only catch. The only catch to that is, like Mike Tyson said, everybody got a plan till they get punched in the mouth. So it sounds good to say, oh, I'm going to just be in there and I'm going to do this. And guys have done that before, like especially to guys like Floyd Mayweather. From the outside looking in, Floyd looks beatable to you. If you're on the sidelines, on the couch, you're like, man, he loses some speed. Oh, he don't hit that hard. Oh, I can beat him. But then guys get in the ring with Floyd and he dazzles them and they don't know what to do with it. You know what I mean? So for me, easier said than done. And ultimately we'll see in September for Crawford if he can pull it off. I told you guys my thoughts. When the fight was first announced, I was like, nah, Canelo too big, he too strong, weight class moving. But for me, this is just my opinion, Canelo made me reconsider based on his last outing with William Skull. Because in my opinion, that version of Canelo, whatever version showed up for William Skull, that's not going to be enough to beat Crawford. He did not look formidable enough. He looked lazy. He looked like he didn't want to be there. And it's a bit weird because I'm not Canelo, so I don't know exactly why he fought like that. However, it is very concerning. It's very concerning because he just didn't look good. He looked slower. He looked like, I'm not going out of my way to make no statements. I'm not going out of my way to make this competitive. I'm not going to cut off the ring. I'm not going to try new things. So for me, I don't know if it is Canelo's been promised all this money from Turkey. Like the Crawford fight. And see, this is one of the downsides to Turkey's method of bringing boxing to the fans. This is one of the definite downsides, at least to me, because I feel like boxers are better when they're not being overpaid for matches that don't require that. And when you find ways to keep the boxer hungry and also keep the boxer motivated, like incentivized. For example, one of the reasons why the pay-per-view model works so well in boxing is because it's like bring your own beer. You know what I mean? When you go to a barbecue, you're asking the people coming to your party to chip in some kind of way, kind of like a potluck, right? That's what people are doing with the pay-per-view. Hey, this is the bigger fight, Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis. So you lean on the public to pay that fee to present that fight to you. And then the promoters make some money, the fighters make some money, and then we get the sports entertainment and we get a conclusion on who's the best, right? So it's, like I said, it's kind of like a potluck where you rely on people that are coming. Hey, I'm gonna put some meat on the grill, pause, bring a soda, bring some napkins, bring paper plates, bring some bread or breadstick, you know what I mean? Bring something. Don't just bring your appetite. So that's kind of how pay-per-view works. And when fighters are incentivized in such a way, I think it truly is better. For example, the flaw or fluke with what Turkey does is it sounds like he's moving not just one, but maybe 1, 2, 3 fights in advance. It has like this whole outline of what's to happen. Like, hey, I'm doing a Times Square card. Ryan and Devin are going to fight in October, right? So then you get a guy like Devin Haney, and he fights Jose Ramirez coming off of the bad performance with Ryan Garcia. And then Devin, people said he ran and it was boring and he was evasive. Eddie Hearn said he looked like a rabbit, a hare, right? And when you look at it, if he's promised this crazy bag to fight Ryan Garcia, right? You're promised all this money to fight Ryan Garcia and you don't want to blow it. Maybe Devin Haney chose like, hey, all I got to do is get past this Ramirez fight and I don't want to spoil my chances by getting dropped, looking vulnerable, and most importantly, losing. So maybe I'm going to get on my bike and just, make it a boring fight, but still get the W, right? Same thing with Canelo, because they fought back to back and it was all bad fights. Ryan Roley was a bad fight. Devin Ramirez, bad fight. And Canelo Skull was a bad fight. But again, this could be in part due to how Turkey is moving and moving these fighters. Like Canelo, he knew that the goal was to fight Crawford in September, right? Crawford was in Saudi Arabia for the William Skull fight. So maybe Canelo is looking at William Skull and he's like, this dude is running and he's moving a lot. I have slow feet and I'm older and I'm low-key washed. I can't keep up with this foot speed. So they're not going to give him rounds doing this. So I'd rather just get through the fight because I know I'm getting 100 mil or whatever to fight Terence Crawford, right? So you basically have, it's like someone pulling their punches, not taking chances because they know their next fight and they know their next fight is worth more money and the value of their next fight. So they're not going to take certain risks. But for me, I wouldn't want my business ran like that. I would want my business ran like, if you don't impress, if you don't make noise, then the next fight ain't happening, right? I would want motivated, incentivized fighters, not like, hey, just get past Ramirez any way you want, even if it is jabbing occasionally and doing a whole lot of unnecessary movement and then boring everyone out their mind, right? And Canelo being lazy, looking horrible, punching air, missing, but we're still going to give you the fight on the scorecard. For me, it doesn't build the next fight. So it is better sometimes to not outline everything so the fighters can focus on what's in front of them, eat what's on your plate, so to speak. That's my personal rant for the whole situation. But we're here now. Canelo, he got past Skull. Crawford's team, they sound insanely confident. I really, truly think Canelo's last performance hurt the fight. Because Bud, his performance, it wasn't the greatest versus Madrimov, but his was last year, so maybe it's not fresh in people's mind as much. Canelo decided to do a tune-up with a massive underdog, and then he underperforms given who you were in there with, an unknown Cuban fighter. People expect when you fight, that's one of the dangers of fighting down. I don't care about no mandatories, because when you're Canelo, he's giving up belts because he wasn't feeling the WBC. So don't tell me he has to do it because it's a mandatory and all that, because Canelo's bigger than the belts. He made more money than the belts. He almost make his own rules in each weight class, right? He don't be fighting mandatories because he didn't fight Andrade when he was the mandatory, and he don't fight Benavidez. He only fights mandatories when he likes the fight and he likes his chances in the fight, right? So for Canelo to perform like he did with William Skull, it definitely hurt the Bud Crawford fight. And hearing how Crawford and his team are confident, seeing that, how could you not be confident seeing how Canelo has looked over the last several years, right? He's hurting guys like Munguia and Berlanga, who are more flat-footed, like puncher, aggressive guys that are coming to you, nothing really fancy. So he has the experience and the power to drop them, but then he can't really do nothing else with them, right? He fought John Ryder, hurt him, broke his nose, I think, or his jaw. Can't stop him, even though Munguia stopped him after that, right? And then now you're fighting Crawford. Now, the only difference, like I said, it sounds good that Crawford's like, we'll fight toe-to-toe and we'll be right there in front of Canelo. It's still, you're still moving up multiple weight classes. So to me, that's kind of what this fight comes down to. The fight comes down to how bad Canelo looks, if Canelo can land some solid punches, and how Crawford responds at this new weight. If it's kind of one of those fights where if Canelo can't either land or Crawford, the punches that Canelo does land, Crawford takes them well, then Crawford's getting the victory. You know what I mean? And Canelo will get cooked. But here's the thing, and I think this is a bit more likely. Bud, no matter what, I think Bud is going to win rounds and win moments, no matter what happens. Because he has dog, he has willpower, willingness to win. He's a true competitor. He likes to fight. So no matter what, if he wins or loses, I think Bud will be competitive. The biggest determining factor is it going to be like Amir Khan? Because Amir Khan was winning more rounds than he wasn't. It just so happened he got caught, and when he got caught, it was over. And that's the danger when you're moving up all this weight, is your opponent can make 1,000 mistakes if you don't have the power to hurt them. And they, since they're coming up all this weight, they only have to make one mistake and it could be curtains. That is literally, for me, that is literally the only intrigue in this fight at all. It's not an intriguing fight overall for me, but the only curiosity factor is how well Bud responds to power at 168. If they both were fighting at 54 at the same time, like Canelo used to be at 54, 55, I'll pick Bud easy. He's a more skilled fighter, more complete fighter. He's not a golfer like Canelo, and he's not lazy like Canelo. And he has great cardio and trains. There's moments where Canelo was drinking alcohol and he was looking sloppy wasted in public. Like, hey, let's party, right? I don't know if Bud drinks, but if he does drink, he masks it, and it's not like viral. I ain't seen no viral clip of Terence Crawford looking sloppy drunk like I have with Canelo and other fighters. You know what I mean? So again, I don't know what he does, but either way, if he doesn't drink, that's good on him. If he does drink, he hides it better than people like Canelo. So, you know, it is what it is. But I will say and give it up to Team Crawford. They definitely sound very confident. And again, after looking at Canelo's last performance, they have every right to be confident, because Canelo looked washed to me. He really did. He looked like a fighter who, like almost a fighter going through the motions, where he can beat guys like the Berlangas and Munguia, but you can't give him too tough of a puzzle. And Crawford might be that puzzle that is just too much. You know, he very well could be that. But like, if you make Canelo work, that's what Canelo, he just seemed like he want to go through the motions. Like he's making fat money and he's just lining his pockets. He don't want to go through the rigors of, you know, a David Benavidez. There's no guy that David Benavidez has fought where he didn't hurt him and he didn't make him work. Name one guy where they had an easy work. Even Ron Gavril, the first fight was pretty close and he dropped Benavidez. All them fights was work. All them fights with Benavidez, from Morrell to Caleb Plant to Darrell, all these guys, anybody that Benavidez fought, you knew they were in a fight. J. Leon Love, Angulo, Kieron David, All them guys knew they were in a fight after they fought Benavidez, period. Because he hurt pretty much all of them. Lemieux, he hurt really everybody. I don't think it's like early Wilder where he's just hurting everybody. But even if he didn't allegedly hurt him, which he probably did, but even if he didn't, you knew that he was still giving you work. There's no one that can say, I fought David Benavidez as a pro and it was easy work. You know, I didn't even feel like I was in a fight, right? I ain't seen the fight from him where that happened. And I've been covering Benavidez for years. Canelo don't want that. Canelo don't want to have, like I said, Canelo truly don't want to have to, he don't want to have to go through that. Hove did that, so hopefully you don't have to go through that. Canelo don't want to have to go through that type of pressure, that type of commitment. That's why he's willing to fight Jermell Charlo and Crawford over Benavidez, because he at least has the size advantage and they might not be able to hurt him. Benavidez is a big boy. Pause. He absolutely can hurt Canelo. You know what I mean? Crawford, that's a shot in the dark if Crawford moving up and no tune-ups is going to be able to truly hurt Canelo, because Jermell Charlo got in there and he couldn't really hurt and get Canelo's respect. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting for those reasons that I've outlined. Nevertheless, Crawford's team sounds really confident. So that's a good sign if you're a Crawford fan, and that's a good sign for Terence Crawford as we enter these upcoming months. Let me know how I did in this video. Subscribe to my channel, and we unpacked. Live streaming can be tough, which is why I use StreamYard. Click the link in the description for StreamYard, which is an awesome tool that enables you to set up your stream with ease of use. Get great results with live streaming. It's what I use. Stream to social media with ease with StreamYard. Live streaming is here to stay. Engage with your audience using StreamYard. Great way to reach out to your audience and connect. So you need a tool that can do that. If you're new to YouTube and you're struggling to get views, one tool I can provide to you is TubeBuddy. I've been on YouTube over 10 years. I use TubeBuddy daily to crank out videos just like this one that you're watching. Learn how the pros do it with TubeBuddy. YouTube receives a lot of traffic, which also means a lot of creators, a lot of people putting out content. So you need to learn the ropes so you know how to separate yourself, especially if you're new. But even if you're a pro, use TubeBuddy. The link is in the description. Get more views, more subscribers, and a higher click-through rate, so ultimately you can realize all of your online goals. Use my affiliate link in the description and grow your channel fast.